Or let's unpack this. Today, we're getting into some truly unsettling waters. We're exploring stories that kind of peel back the surface of everyday life, revealing hidden dangers, both online and in the real world. We've got a stack of really vivid personal accounts and also reports from some pretty complex criminal investigations. Our mission today is to pull out the most important insights from these experiences, not just the what happened, but like, what does this mean for you, for understanding behavior, vulnerability, and, well, resilience.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here is just the sheer range of these sources. We go from these sort of philosophical questions about, thought crimes online to really direct physical threats. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it forces you to really question your assumptions about safety, about the subtle ways danger can just pop up where you least expect it.
Okay, first up, let's dive into a case that seriously blurred the lines between, like, dark fantasy and terrifying reality. The story of Gilberto Vansler. You might know him as the Cannibal cop. He's an NYPD officer, seemed totally normal. Wife Kathleen, baby daughter. But then Kathleen finds this stuff on his computer. Started with disturbing adult content, but then it escalated. Messages with online friends, fantasizing about torture, murder, even cannibalizing her friends, family members. Photos of them next to these awful captions. And here's where it gets really interesting.
Well, this pushes us right into that big question. When does a fantasy cross the line, become a genuine threat? Valor's defense, they basically argued it was just thought crime. Horrible fantasies, sure, but nothing more. He hadn't actually done anything physical. But the prosecution, they pointed to his use of NYPD databases, looking up potential victims, old friends, people he knew. And these detailed blueprints he had for abduction, they painted this picture of a guy who wasn't just thinking, he was actively preparing. The jury bought it, convicted him of conspiracy to kidnap. They clearly felt his, quote, need for things that were more and more real meant he was about to act.
Right, but then it gets complicated again. A well-known forensic psychiatrist, Dr. Park Dietz, he actually assessed Jeffrey Dahmer too. He looked at Veller and found no clinical psychopathy. Said Veller was, and I quote, many steps removed from the kind of person that might start to take action, even while saying the online stuff was disturbing, obviously. Veller later blamed it on childhood trauma, this weird fixation on a scene from The Mask, of all things, and then this website, Mook's Kitchen, which is apparently known for showing women being killed. And then he got released on appeal. After only 21 months, the judge basically ruled it was just fantasy roleplay, not concrete steps towards action.
That's exactly it. That's the debate that still lingers, isn't it? Dietz's point is crucial. Wanting to do something horrific doesn't automatically mean you will. Intent is so complex psychologically. But then you have the Dark Fetish Network, this place where Valor connected with guys like Mike Van Hees and Dale Ballinger. That adds this whole other layer. It shows how these online spaces can, incubate these ideas, maybe even encourage them, push them from private thought into a kind of shared reality. And look what happened to Van Hees and Ballinger. They both ended up facing charges for actual real-world predatory crimes. So even if Valor himself was ultimately deemed fantasy, the network he was part of definitely led to real harm for other people. It shows how that digital space can bridge the gap sometimes.
Yeah, and this online darkness, it forces some really tough ethical questions. Like with the Playpen website. This is a huge child exploitation site operating on the dark web, that hidden part of the internet you need special browsers for, where anonymity lets all sorts of illegal stuff happen. So the FBI arrests the owner, Stephen Chase. But then, and get this, they don't shut the site down. No, they operated it for 2 weeks, apparently trying super hard to copy Chase's typing style and everything to keep users thinking it was still him. Imagine the meetings about that decision.
Oh, absolutely. If you look at the bigger picture, it's a massive ethical tightrope for law enforcement online. The FBI defended it, of course, said it led directly to hundreds of arrests, rescued kids worldwide, a pragmatic argument. But the public outcry was huge. Critics, like the EFF, basically said the FBI was committing the crime they were trying to stop, which forces you to ask, when do the ends stop justifying the means, especially when it's the government doing things it forbids its citizens from doing. Even the Court of Appeals called the government's actions bordered on outrageous, but they let the arrests stand. They basically said, look, we don't live in an ideal world, shut this down, and another pops up instantly. It's uncomfortable.
Definitely. And you can't really talk about the dark web without mentioning red rooms, that persistent urban legend. Supposedly live, interactive executions streamed online for people who pay. These rumors just spread like wildfire. Now, experts like the journalist Eileen Ormsby, they mostly say it's bunk, elaborate scams clinging on our morbid curiosity. Fueled by that whole creepypasta thing, those internet horror stories that get so convincing they blur the line between fiction and maybe reality. But the idea itself just won't die. Our sources even mentioned this hacker, Cthulhu, who found they were just scams to get Bitcoin, ending in a blank screen or weirdly like a joke about bacon.
Which does make you wonder about us psychologically, doesn't it? Why are we so drawn to these dark legends? It's probably more than just morbid curiosity. Maybe it's a way to externalize our deepest fears, explore the absolute worst possibilities from a safe distance. Like that quote one source used, "If my thought dreams could be seen, they'd probably put my head in a guillotine." It really speaks to how private our darkest thoughts are and how uncomfortable society gets when they're shared, like in Valor's case, in a community. The fact these myths persist, that even governments took them seriously for a bit, it suggests that if enough people believe they exist, they kind of do, maybe, always on the edge of becoming real. The insight here is really about digital skepticism, isn't it? Questioning what you see online, especially the extreme stuff, and seeing how belief can amplify fiction.
Right. So, okay, the digital world has its shadows, for sure. But our sources also show how quickly physical safety can just evaporate, how routine situations turn terrifying. Like imagine this, you arrive, thinking you're at your company-booked hotel, tired after traveling. But you end up at some gross, sleazy motel. You're a woman traveling alone, suddenly realizing you're the perfect target. This actually happened. A woman, simple mix-up, similar hotel name, checks into a room. And there are men already inside waiting to kidnap her. Her car wouldn't start, classic setup, she had to fight. Just sheer instinct, she said, using elbows, strength, anything, until the police finally got there. Chilling how fast security vanished.
It's striking, isn't it, how quickly that sense of safety shatters. Sometimes through bad luck, sometimes deliberate traps. We also heard from a hotel manager. Got this weird call, sounded like a kid, something felt off. He follows that instinct, investigates, and uncovers a father abusing his son, even though the father tried hard to deny it. The manager just had this vague feeling, a tremble in the kid's voice on the phone. These stories just hammer home how important it is to trust your gut, that feeling in your stomach. Even when there's no obvious reason, if something feels wrong, your intuition can be the first most vital alarm bell. It can lead to action that saves someone.
Or think about the woman who just felt, watched at her hotel, just this vague unease. Later finds out a stalker had been following her for almost a year, taking pictures, daily life, her mother's funeral even, all from the shadows. She never knew. With a French family. They find a tractor just parked at the end of their garden one day. Weird enough. But then at night, its headlights switch on, aimed right at their bathroom window. After they'd kind of brushed off earlier privacy concerns, even seemingly small things, right? A guy being a bit too friendly to a kid in a store, someone claiming to be a modeling scout on the street, could be nothing, or could be something awful hiding underneath. Makes you reevaluate those little moments.
Yeah, and connecting this to the bigger picture, it just shows how easily personal space, privacy can be invaded subtly, terrifyingly, sometimes over long periods without you having a clue. It underlines that chilling reality. Predators can operate unseen, plan meticulously, which means being acutely aware of your surroundings and actually acting on that awareness, even if it feels small, is just crucial for safety. It's about being vigilant without being paranoid, right? Recognizing that most things are fine, but some signals mean real danger you need to react to now.
But it's not all just vulnerability. These sources also have these incredibly powerful stories of people fighting back, showing real resilience. We heard about a hotel worker. 2 men lure her to their room in a snowstorm. Clearly bad intentions. She had a concealed handgun, used it, shot one, the other ran off. Another woman, trapped in our hot tub with some creepy older guy who just wouldn't leave her alone. She just kicks him hard right in the head. And another woman jumped in to help knock him out. And the father, realizing his pregnant daughter was being followed by 2 guys in a car, especially after some local murders, he didn't wait, just burst out of the house, ran right at their car to scare them off, confronted the threat directly.
It really makes you ask that fundamental question. What choices do we make? What can we make when we're pushed right to the edge? These accounts show this amazing range of responses, from planned self-defense, like carrying protection, to pure instinct. Adrenaline-fueled reactions driven by fear and that deep need to survive. It shows that, yes, vulnerability is real, but so is our capacity for incredible resilience, that fierce instinct to protect yourself or protect loved ones. These stories show that sometimes quick, decisive, even aggressive action isn't just an option, it's what's necessary to stay safe when you're facing immediate, serious danger.
So wrapping this up, what does all this mean for you? Whether you're dealing with the murky stuff online or unexpected threats out in the world, these stories are just a stark reminder. Awareness is absolutely your first line of defense. Full stop. Trusting your instincts, learning to read those subtle signs of danger, having some kind of plan that's not just for movies, it's real world stuff. Knowing where the police station is, noticing when something just feels off, being ready to act decisively that can make all the difference.
And it leaves you with this important question to think about, doesn't it? In this super interconnected world, information, influence, it all flows so freely. How do we actually equip ourselves? How do we get better at telling the difference between, say, harmless weirdness and genuine danger? And maybe even harder, how do we train ourselves to act effectively when that line is crossed? It's about finding that balance, I think, between being open and curious and having that healthy, necessary skepticism and vigilance.
Yeah, that's definitely a thought that sticks with you. And that's our deep dive for today. We hope these insights gave you not just, a quick update, but maybe a new perspective. Unsettling, perhaps, but hopefully empowering, too, on the surprising realities of safety and danger around us. Until next time, stay curious and stay aware.